Businesses are hoarding data they can't use, mistaking volume for value. I'm Randy McClure with SC Tech Insights. Traditional data governance is failing. In this video, I'll show you why you need a data-ready strategy to survive.
And we're diving straight into a systemic issue threatening modern enterprises: the engineering and security risks buried within traditional data management. Today, organizations absolutely recognize data as a critical asset. Yet, at the exact same time, they're floundering when it comes to value, access, and security. We'll be analyzing these structural failures through an objective lens and establishing a clear strategic path forward to mitigate those organizational risks. We'll be moving methodically through 5 key areas today. We'll start with the enterprise data crisis, examine the governance control trap, dissect architectural security vulnerabilities, contrast strategy versus governance, and finally, outline the data-ready solution. Let's begin with section 1, the enterprise data crisis. We need to establish our baseline. Data management is fundamentally the practice of collecting, processing, and using data securely and efficiently for better business outcomes. Notice that dual mandate. It's not just about locking data down, it has to be utilized effectively to drive tangible results. If either of those conditions fails, your management process is failing. In reality, enterprise data management usually falls into one of 2 critical failure states. On one hand, you have tightly controlled data. Here, security is prioritized to the point of stifling all flexibility and access. On the other hand, you had a complete lack of strategy. This results in a chaotic influx of fragmented, duplicated, and ambiguous data pouring in from everywhere. Both of these extremes prevent your organization from actually gaining valuable insights. That brings us to section 2, the governance control trap. It's essential we differentiate management from governance. Data governance ensures that data across the organization is standardized, secure, and fully compliant with internal policies and external regulations. Now, governance is absolutely necessary for mitigating regulatory risk, but an exclusive focus on compliance creates severe operational bottlenecks. Before long, your teams start viewing data management as nothing more than red tape. And that leads to a harsh reality regarding enterprise value. Research clearly indicates that if organizations fail to extract valuable insights, their data becomes just a costly liability instead of a strategic asset. When you lock data away in secure silos purely for compliance, it transforms from a competitive advantage into a very expensive burden. It drains resources to store and maintain while yielding zero operational return. Let's move to section 3, architectural security vulnerabilities. Here is a critical question for leadership. How exactly do poor data management practices and fragmented systems amplify security risks and invite cyber threats? There's a dangerous misconception out there that simply hiding data behind a firewall equals security, but the architectural reality of most organizations creates structural vulnerabilities that bad actors are easier to exploit. If we work closely, every engineering challenge breeds a corresponding security risk. Think about ill-defined data. If you don't know what information is actually sensitive, your security resources are fundamentally misallocated. Application-centric silos lead to highly inconsistent vendor security protocols. And managing digital identity, verifying access across human, device, and AI endpoints becomes incredibly complex, leading directly to unauthorized access. One specific engineering challenge requires deeper analysis, and that's custom-built integrations. As businesses adopt more cloud-based software, they build proprietary interfaces to connect them. These are particularly insidious. They establish a massive, poorly documented web of unsecured data transfers. Worse, they routinely transmit duplicated and fragmented data across your entire enterprise, effectively multiplying the points of potential compromise. The conclusion here is unavoidable. Because most organizations have their data scattered and duplicated across different software applications and systems, it creates significantly more vulnerabilities and attack surfaces for hackers. Chaotic data collection without a unified architectural strategy fundamentally breaks organizational security. It's virtually impossible to control access or detect anomalies when your data is fractured across an undocumented landscape. To resolve these compounding vulnerabilities, we enter section 4, strategy versus governance. Executive leadership must pivot to a comprehensive data strategy. By definition, a data strategy identifies how data can be utilized to achieve business objectives. It focuses on maximizing value through targeted analysis and utilization. This moves far beyond mere compliance. A structured strategy dictates organizational roles, establishes unified architecture, and defines the daily protocols required to extract actual value from raw information. It's vital to view governance and strategy as separate but complementary imperatives. Governance handles risk compliance, standardization, and security. Strategy focuses on business objectives, value maximization, and opportunity identification. Simply put, governance protects the perimeter, but strategy directs the asset. The problem is, most traditional organizations only possess the former. There's also a common structural error we see all the time, delegating this entire process to the IT department. This results in IT-led data amassing, collecting massive volumes of poorly defined, unstructured data that simply overwhelms your systems. True value requires a business-led data strategy. This demands clear, direct guidance from executive leadership to ensure the data architecture is deliberately designed for insights and decision-making. Finally, Section 5, the data-ready solution. The overarching thesis is unambiguous. Traditional data management is failing. The sheer volume of information flooding in from IoT sensors, customer interactions, and supply chains demands a total paradigm shift. To survive this digital environment, businesses must execute a data-ready strategy. You can no longer afford to drown in raw data while battling the security vulnerabilities caused by that very same data fragmentation. Executing this shift requires 4 precise methodical steps from leadership. First, acknowledge the limits of basic governance and recognize the control traps. Second, provide active, business-led executive leadership for your data strategy. Take the sole burden off of IT. Third, establish a clear business data architecture structured for decision-making. And fourth, secure those fragmented endpoints by eliminating undocumented, custom-built integrations. This transitions your enterprise from chaotic amassing to a secure, insights-driven posture. Let's conclude with a final diagnostic question for your leadership team. Is your organization merely amassing costly data liabilities under the guise of governance, or are you executing a true business-led strategy to secure assets and unlock your data's value?
Hello, this is Randy McClure from SC Tech Insights. Thank you for listening. For more on this topic, click the article link below or go to www.sctechinsights.com for the latest insights on supply chain technology. Thank you and see you next time.